Even if the body is cut into 100 pieces, the self is not injured. Even if the pot is pulverized, the space within it is not destroyed. So even if the body is cut into 100 pieces, it begs the question, well, how do we know? How do we know that the self is not injured? Seems to be a bit of a conjecture here, and hypothesis even. I think what we're getting here is the realization of the essential nature of our awareness, of awareness. It has no qualities. Although we can describe it as something that's not going anywhere, we can always come back to it. The Tao Te Ching is described as ever constant. It's got that essential quality. So I think that this is what's being conveyed here, is trying to convey some sort of sense here of the imperturbability of the Absolute Self. Even if this goblin mind, which exists only as a word and not as a reality, ceases to be, what do we lose? And this is quite an important thing, because that's what we tend to identify with. We identify with our mind. This is what causes suffering, this identification with the mind. But once you get into the practice of coming back to this awareness, you realise that that identification it's got less and less appeal. Formerly, there was a mind which consisted of notions of happiness and unhappiness. But now that all such notions have ceased to be, where is my mind? Which fool would entertain such notions as one enjoys another, one grasps another, one sees another, one suffers a calamity? This is the process that's being described here. One enjoys another. First of all, there's enjoyment, there's a sense of pleasure. Then you grasp for it, you reach out for it, and then you objectify it. You objectify it as something out there which you want in order to make you happy here. And that's the calamity that you suffer. You get caught up in this loop, this cycle. Nature alone enjoys. The mind grasps or comprehends. Suffering belongs to the body. The wicked person is a fool. But in one who has attained liberation, there is none of these. So this is stating it again. One enjoys another. It's nature alone that enjoys. There is enjoyment. And then what happens is the mind comes into play and says, oh, I want some more of that. So the mind grasps or comprehends. And then one sees another. And this is the notion of an object or a body. So the suffering belongs to the body. This goes hand in hand with suffering. And then there's a calamity. Well, that's a calamity, a tragedy even. So here the wicked person is identified with a fool. It's like somebody who keeps banging their head on a wall, and it actually gets a little bit of pleasure from the times in between the bangs, and that's what keeps them banging the wall. So it's foolish to the point of being wicked, because it's such a waste. It's such a waste of your own potential. I neither entertain craving for pleasure, nor do I wish to get rid of it. Whatever comes, let it come. Whatever goes, let it go. Let notions of diverse experiences either arise or set in the body. I am neither in them, nor they in me. In other words, we don't have to do anything. Everything's just happening. Let's be open to it. Let's realise our identity with the space or the awareness in which all these things are happening. For so long I have been enslaved by the dreaded enemy known as ignorance, who robbed me of my wealth of wisdom. Our sense of being is constantly being sapped by our involvement with our thoughts, with our notions, with our ideas about things. These ideas generally limit our sense of being, which Prahlad describes as his wealth of wisdom. But now, by the grace of Lord Vishnu and through my own excellent self-effort, I have attained that wisdom. Prahlad remembers a demon king, a demon lord, who converted to worshipping Lord Vishnu. And it just so happened in the course of that worship, he stumbled upon his essential self. And then by his own self-effort, he kept coming back to that awareness. So here it's the initial boon, the initial realization is being described as a boon of Lord Vishnu. It could happen at any time, in any place, that initial realization. So here it's being described as something that happened by the grace of Lord Vishnu. And it's happening to most of us during the day. It's just that we don't acknowledge it, we don't appreciate it, we don't make the effort to get in touch with it, or to keep getting in touch with it. By the magic spell of self-knowledge, this goblin ego sense has been expelled. Rid of the destitution of delusion, I remain as the Supreme Lord. All that is worth knowing is already known. All that is worth seeing has been seen. I have now attained that beyond which there is not to be attained. It's a supreme achievement. Once you've stumbled on this and appreciated it for what it is, it throws everything into perspective. You'll still have your habits and your tendencies, but these will gradually become undermined as you realise you're being sold shoddy goods.